Hey, what's up everyone? Jonathan Allen here at Floodwater Studios, and today we're hopping back in to PreSonus Studio 1, and we're going to check out something called Scenes. Let's hop into it. So have you ever been in a session and you're thinking to yourself, man, the drums would really sound cool with this setting, or I could probably tweak the vocal here, but you don't want to go through the whole thing and then dive into it, and then 30 minutes later you're like, ah, crap, that's not what I wanted at all. So then you got to go delete everything you just did, try to get back to the original version. Usually, it's happened to me, you don't quite get there. Well, Studio One has solved this for us, and it's something called Scenes. So let's go ahead and hop into Studio One here, and we're taking a look at a song we're working on for Eli's album. This one is called Name for Myself. Now, we're not going to give a ton of this song away in the video because it's set to release in the near future, so we want to make sure that a lot of it is a surprise for you guys and that you can enjoy everything as much as we've enjoyed putting everything together. Now, we're looking at our session here, and I had some ideas that I wanted to test out. So if you come down to your mix tab, and I have just condensed the mixer here, which for that, these two buttons here, you can see it will expand it, bring it all back up with all the plugins, just trying to get everything smaller. So I put that to small, condense the actual fader view itself, just so we kind of have everything out of the way. We don't need to get into all the plugins and all that right now. But what we want to do is over here on the bottom left, we have Show Scenes Console. So we want to click that. Now, I've put together a couple different scenes here, and what I start with is the first scene called Originals. So if I double click this and recall, this is exactly how we recorded and mixed and sent it to mastering. So nothing has changed here. Now there's a couple other scenes that I'll show you how we can add scenes, how you save scenes as you're going, because every change you make, before you pull up or recall another scene, you're going to want to save the one that you're working on, so it saves what you've done. Now, the original, just so you hear what it sounds like, I have muted the vocal for this right now. We'll unmute it in one of the scenes here, but muted the vocal. Caveat though, Eli played this live, so he played the acoustic guitar and sang at the same time. I can get into a video on how we did that at another time. If you'd like to see that, drop me a comment down below. In fact, while you're there, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Smash that notification bell so you see everything that's happening at Floodwater. But he played everything live, so we had two microphones, one on the voice, one on the guitar. There's always going to be bleed when that happens. The vocal mic, you're going to hear some guitar. The guitar mic, you're going to hear some vocal. No way around that. Just how it works. Now, also, we didn't play to a click on this one. He wanted it to be free and open, and for him to kind of move in tempo if he wanted to, and just the energy for everything. Again, that's a great option as well. We could talk about that at a different time too. But this is how we recorded it, mixed it, and sent it to mastering. So let's take a listen. So as you can tell, there's a little bit of that vocal bleed through in the guitar mics. Always going to happen, but that's okay. So I was listening to it and I was like, I wonder what it would sound like if we threw some overdrive on the drums. Just kind of crunched them up a little bit. So I created a scene. Now what we can do to create a new scene, if you just click the plus button, you will add a scene. Here, you can name it whatever you want. You hit OK. It puts a new scene copying what is already there. So the originals, it copied the originals down, and then I manipulated from there. Once you go through your manipulations, in fact, we'll expand all of the tracks here. And then if I go all the way over to my drums bus, you can see here. Oh, let me recall the scene. I thought I did that, sorry. So drums bus, I added a distortion. Now this is the Manny Marquand distortion from the Waves set. Like I've said before, stock plugins are amazing. You can definitely get away with them. But at the same time, I fell into the trap of buying other plugins, so I use them also. So Manny Marquand distortion, these are the settings I have set up. The drive, we're going about 10 o'clock. Full distortion level, direct level is there as well. Pretty slow attack, decent release. Input is not hot at all. We got the bass up, treble up, mids are still boosted here too. And then the output a little bit past 12, just so we weren't clipping. Trying to just match the volume of the original drums to these overdrive drums. So let's take a listen to the original drums real quick. So we'll just mute the distortion and so drums sound pretty good. They're nice and full. They're big. Let's add some distortion onto it and see what we get with it. See if it kind of dirties it up a little bit and if we like the final product. So it definitely gives it a little bit of beef, gives it a little bit of grit. It actually doesn't sound bad with the track at all. Now, we're probably not going to keep it, but just for demonstration purposes, it sounds pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I like adding distortion. I messed around with adding some delay. Sometimes slapback delay on some of the drums sounds pretty cool. Gives it a different effect, different feel for everything. It didn't really work on this song, but that's always an option too. So let's go ahead, because we did make some changes. So we're just going to right click where it says OD drums, and we're going to update scene. Now, anytime you're done making your changes, make sure you go back here to your scene console, right click the scene you're working on, and update scene. That way everything saves and you can move on from there. Now, the next thing I was thinking is, okay, well, that's pretty cool if we overdrive the drums. What if we kept the drums straight and then we put the acoustic guitar through an amp? Now, I know that sounds crazy, and it really is, honestly, but we're just messing around. We're seeing if we can get something that sounds good still and even usable. So I put the acoustic guitars through a Fender amp modeler in here in Studio One. So let's right click here. We can hit recall scene. So this will pull everything up for us. Takes just a second because I'm using Amplitude 5 by IK Multimedia. And I'll show you the settings I have. So in Amplitude, I'm running a worn out Bassman. So this, I do have the collector series for Fender here. Oh, there we go. So this one, it's a 53 Bassman. The cool thing with this is you can set it to a new style amp or a worn out amp. So it gives you that road sound for everything. It's been worked. It's a workhorse. If you guys want to see a video on Amplitude 5, let me know in the comments. And that one would be pretty fun to make. So I put it through this 53 Bassman. So the two acoustic, the standard acoustic tracks and the slide guitar that comes in here, that goes through everything. So let's listen to a couple different sections here. We'll listen to the very beginning where it's just the guitar kind of playing by itself. The vocal is going, but that's muted for now. But let's listen to what that sounds like, and then we'll jump up here to where the slide comes in.
I think I might just take a break, watch all of my fears fade away, till they come crawling back. I think I'll find a...
So it doesn't sound bad for being an acoustic track going through an amp simulator. But let's take a listen to, like I said, especially when the slide comes in, because the slide guitar we recorded right on an acoustic also. So let's come over here, zoom in a little. So you are going to hear a little bit of the vocal bleed, like I said. That's going to go through the amp simulator also. One of the cons of using or playing, recording live with the two microphones right there. But hey, the total end product, it sounded really good. So let's listen to this. So the whole thing sounds pretty darn good. I liked how it turned out. Again, it's not the feel we're going for or Eli has for this song that he wrote, but it's fun to see what you can get away with. And sure, it's going to change the song, but it sounds pretty cool. Now, the third idea I had is, okay, so we crunched the drums, we crunched the acoustic, let's crunch the vocal and see if we can get that old vintagey sound. So I did. I put it through Amplitude 5 also. So let's go back here. We're going to listen to the vocal with the guitar. So didn't change anything for the acoustic through amps, so we don't have to update that. But I am going to right click and recall scene for Vox Crunch. Now this one, I do not have the acoustics in the amp simulator. I have it turned off. We could turn it on and it may help everything just a little bit more, but let's hear what it sounds like with just the vocal going through the amp sim.
Well, I think I might just take a break, watch all of my fears fade away, till they come crawling back. Well, I think I'll find a simple place, a lot of land, a little space for my guitars and my clothes.
I don't know about you, but I really like that. Only for the intro, though. Because there's so much acoustic bleed, we were trying our best to not have so much bleed. But with the acoustic bleed in the vocal channel, if I solo this and we go to the bigger verse or for the chorus, you'll hear how much of that guitar is actually coming through. So take a listen to this, and you can see why I would like it for the intro, but maybe not the whole song.
Well, I'm just gonna take a walk, clear my mind, try not to talk unless I'm spoken to. Well, then my thoughts bleed out on you.
So you can hear with that guitar bleed that's in there, it makes it a little unusable for the rest of the mix. Now, if we play everything together, it's pretty noticeable still, especially because of how chuggy everything is, and then with the mids and all the low end that's coming from the amp sim, trying to get that out would just kill the vocal also. So that's one thing that we want to keep in mind is when you're recording live like that, you have the vocal and the guitar, which one is priority? Obviously, the vocal is priority, so we want to make that sound as good as we can and then make the guitar fit afterwards. So let's listen to everything together here. Vocal crunch going, and you can see why we wouldn't probably choose this for the entire song.
Well, I'm just gonna take a walk, clear my mind, try not to talk unless I'm spoken to. Well, let my thoughts tweet out on you. What?
So also, I didn't put the background vocals through the amp either, so they're still clean, which that could contribute to not sounding the greatest. We could probably mix them together, put them through the amp also, try to get a more cohesive sound that way. And honestly, we may be able to even turn on the amp for the acoustics and then see if we could get that to blend a little bit. This is what it sounds like with the amp on for the acoustics and for the vocal.
For myself. Well, I'm just gonna take a walk, clear my mind, try not to talk unless I'm
So it could work. We could definitely play with a lot of things. Amplitude has a lot of features that you can manipulate individual microphones, placement for microphones. There's a lot of options for different microphones between dynamic, condenser, ribbon microphones. There's different rooms that you can put the amp in. So you could probably get something to work if that was the style you were going for. But these are what I came up with. What do you think about the scene selection here, the console that Studio One has to offer? I mean, it's pretty cool that you can take multiple instances of the same song and kind of manipulate for different specific reasons, especially if you're doing some client work and they have what they've recorded, what you're mixing, and then you're thinking, hey, it'd be kind of cool if we did this in this section, and instead of going through the master file, the main file for everything, just kind of make a scene, make some tweaks, do what you think would sound pretty cool, and then you could play them that scene. If they don't like it, hey, you come over here, you right click, you remove scene. You don't need to worry about it, but you always have your original to go back to. Again, let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments section. Go ahead again, hit like and subscribe and smash that notification bell. We will see you guys on the next one. Before then, go record something. See ya.